welcome back to another episode of the Sideline. My name is Rishi,
My name's Asher Hire.
and we have a lot to talk about. Um, we were both back in Arizona. I think our last episode was also back in Arizona, but now I have my webcam, so it's back to the normal setup.
Looking good.
Um, so we have a lot to talk about. We're gonna speed through the NBA first off, just kind of like the headlines over the last couple of weeks, and then some of the headlines about the Denver Nuggets. And then we're going to go into the NFL, which has a lot. We're going to talk about the Broncos coaching search, what they've been doing. And then we're going to talk about the wildcard weekend and preview the divisional weekend, which is shaping up to be very, very interesting and four really, really good games for that. So first, NBA. Cleveland. We talked about this almost every single episode about Cleveland, but I mean, they've already surpassed their preseason totals for wins. It was set at 26.5 in the betting books, and it's now they won number 27 last night against the Nets, which is just crazy considering there's like 40 games left in the year. JB Biggerstaff, their head coach, I think he should be the front runner for coach of the year, along with Taylor Jenkins, who's the coach of the Grizzlies, who we'll also talk about. But Cleveland's just been really, really solid, and I love that team.
I mean, Darius Garland is playing out of his mind. Really, it's like Darius Garland and then like a bunch of other guys like scoring like 10 to 15 every night. Like Markkanen, Allen, Kevin Love, they all three scored 14 against the Nets. Okoro pitched in 15, Mobley with 12, and then there's Garland with 22 and 12.
Yeah.
So the way he's able to run that offense and feed the big guys and stuff like that, I think it's really fun. And it's interesting because they're like a rare team to where they don't really have like a scorer. I guess you could say Kevin Love maybe is their best, Garland probably is their best like pure scorer, I guess. But like the guy that only scores, like Sexton was the guy that only scored. And they're playing, they are playing better without him. So it's kind of cool to see that, seeing a team that really moves the ball and utilizes the big men and stuff.
Yeah, I when they signed Markkanen, I was so confused because I was just like why? You sign you get Jared Allen back on a good deal. You sign him, then you draft Evan Mobley, another big, and I'm thinking, okay, you set both of them on the side, or you start both of them. You have a really good base, and elite defensive front court. But then you also signed Markkanen. It just didn't make any sense. But he's played pretty good. He's shot well. He's defended much better than I thought he would have been.
Yeah.
They've been able to get him to. It's like a whistling outside my window.
I hear
it. You can hear it?
No, I mean, like, just barely. It's nothing really.
That's weird. But they've gotten him to buy in defensively. He's shooting it well, and they're just there's a solid team. If I remember correctly, when we did our preseason kind of NBA standings, I don't think either of us had Cleveland in the top 10 in the East. I'm pretty sure we had them bottom 5, and I'm fairly certain they have a top 10 record in the NBA right now. Which is crazy. And they're the 4th seed, and they have a legit shot at the 1 seed right now, which is crazy. Dude, what?
Only game and a half back.
Yeah, which is crazy. That's just insane considering that they lost Colin Sexton, was their number 1 scorer, and then they also lose Ricky Rubio, who's having a career year, and the anchor for their bench really. So that was they're just so surprising, and they've just been so solid. Defensively, they're incredible, and offensively, Garland has just been insane. Like I said, one of the things that doesn't make any sense to me, Darius Garland, after his first season, he averaged 15 points a game his first season, which is good because he didn't play that much in college. He only played a few games, and he was out for the year. People were saying that he's the worst player in the NBA, and I think he's a rookie.
Yeah,
he's a rookie on a bad team. He's not gonna be efficient. He's not gonna do some crazy things. I don't understand what they wanted from him.
I know he's kind of just swept under the radar until really this year.
Yeah.
I mean, like, let's see. Let me look at the 29. Like, who was in this 2019 draft class? Like,
There were a lot. I mean, this was the Ja Morant, Zion Williamson
yeah,
draft.
yeah. I mean, there's the Zion, Morant, Barrett, DeAndre Hunter looks like, he's kind of done. Darius Garland, though, like it's those big three in the beginning with Zion, Morant, and Barrett, and you never really hear about Garland until this year, and it's what he's been doing.
Yeah, he's been great. And I think, I mean, he's going to be an all-star. He has to be an all-star. I don't think there's any way he's not. I think Jared Allen has a good case to be one as well. And for a team that, was top 3 in the draft last year to come back this season and have 2 all-stars, and, the front runner for rookie of the year, like that's just a ridiculous turnaround.
Yeah.
Which is, I think the front office should be praised for that. And then the coaching staff, obviously, like I said, JB Bickerstaff, I think he should be the front runner for coach of the year. But another front runner for coach of the year, Taylor Jenkins, he has the Grizzlies going 22-5 over the last 27 games, which is insane. Like that's, especially in the Western Conference, that's just ridiculous. They've leapt to the 3 seed. They leapfrog Utah, who went through a slide without Gobert, and Utah just kept on chugging. And they just a lot of people on Twitter, they're like the draft Twitter team. Like everybody who NBA Twitter loves in the draft just goes there. Like Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Xavier Tillman, Brandon Clark, like all these guys who NBA Twitter just like loves and admires over. They all just go to Memphis and they all play extremely well. So I like they're good. I think they're legit.
Yeah, I do too. Their team is just so solid all around.
Yeah.
Like Desmond Bane is having a crazy season. And then you got like guys like Kyle Anderson, Tyus Jones, Melton, Clark, Jaren Jackson Jr., obviously. Just so solid. And then to have Ja kind of leading that with all his athleticism and stuff. And I mean, they're a fun team to watch. And yeah, I think they're real too. 9-1 in their last 10. As you said, 22-5. Like,
and they've beaten like legit teams. Like they beat Brooklyn when they were fully healthy. They beat the Warriors. They've beaten the Nuggets, obviously. They beat the Bulls last night. Like they've beating good teams, like legit teams. And they've also, I'm pretty sure they've beaten Phoenix twice as well. And that's like the only team that's kind of shown a formula to beat them.
Yeah.
And I mean, if they match up in the playoffs, it looks like, I mean, the past two, if they both meet up in the second round, like that's going to be pretty dangerous. That's good. That's a dark horse team to make it to the conference finals if they're able to win that. It's just like when you think of the Grizzlies, when you think of how they've been good over the last, 10, 15 years, like they've been a very consistent team. It was like the grit and grind, like defense and bullying in the paint and shooting from the mid range. But this season, I mean, they're bombing away from 3. And they're still a very good defensive team. Like Jaren Jackson and Steven Adams and down low is a very good defensive battle. But like Ja Morant shooting a career high from 3, Jaren Jackson shooting 40% from 3. Desmond Bane has been a great 3-point shooter his first 2 seasons in the league. Tyus Jones is a good 3-point shooter. Melton's a good 3-point shooter. Tillman's been able to expand his range to the 3-point line in the NBA. Like they shoot so many threes and they're so good at it too. So like that is such a quick change. Like the year they traded Mike Conley, that grit and grind era ended, but then they draft Ja Morant and it immediately transitions into something even better. So that's just like same with the Cavs. Like it's just a great turnaround. Like they've never been bad, so it wasn't like a rebuild, but they've been able to like reset extremely well.
Yeah, and they've also played the Warriors well too. Speaking of like beating top teams. And yeah, I've also seen like a lot of stuff about like Morant being compared to Curry right now. Like I think just relax on that. It feels a lot like the Lillard Curry debates people were having, where it's like it's really not close. But yeah, I mean he has beaten the Warriors. So I don't know. Also the Mavericks. I'm just looking at the standings. The Mavericks have been playing really well. They're 9-1 in their last 10. the Suns too. The Suns, like no one's talking about the Suns, but I think like we kind of expect them to be this top team, and I don't. It feels like they haven't had a single injury, so
Yeah, they really like Devin Booker was out for like a couple
yeah,
weeks.
that's true.
That's it. Like that's
Yeah.
it.
Meanwhile, the rest of the league has injuries on like every team.
Yeah, like they've just gotten. I don't even think it's luck. Like they just have a great training staff. They've been very
Yeah,
good at
and I
staying
mean,
healthy.
I don't know how they've. I think they had a. Did Aiton get COVID too?
I mean, Aiden was out for a bit. I don't know if he was injured. He had COVID, but even that, I mean, they had
Yeah.
like they have a JaVale McGee's been one of the best defensive centers in the league.
Yeah,
Which
dude, what CP3 is doing to where he can transform the like Bismack Biyombo's coming in and he put up 17 against the Spurs. It's like, are you kidding me? Like Bismack Biyombo and JaVale McGee scored 20 against the Pistons, and really, it's all Chris Paul. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's spoon feeding them. Like it's
yeah,
just wide open.
yeah.
His
So I mean, I think like I've been kind of like a Chris Paul. Like, I just don't like the way he like
yeah,
carries himself on the court and stuff
yeah.
like that. But man, the way what he can do with these centers, and obviously what he's done with DeAndre Ayton too,
Mm-hmm.
deserves a lot of respect.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you on Chris, but like when he tries to score, I hate it because
Mhm.
he's such a foul baiter, and that's just pisses me off so much. But when he's playmaking and he's in that like groove when he's trying to get other people involved, I don't know how you stop him. Like I don't know how you can stop him
Yeah.
because he's able to manipulate the defense so well, and like it is like DeAndre Ayton's had like an all-star caliber year last year. He's having a great season this year. JaVale McGee has had like he's having like the best season of his career right now off the bench. Bismack Biyombo was positive. They've made Jalen Smith into good, who I thought people thought he was going to be a bust, and
Mhm.
he's like when he has played rotation minutes and he started along Chris Paul, he's been really really solid. Like I
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just the only thing about Chris Paul is like somehow the teams do end up figuring a way in
Mhm.
the playoff series. They do figure out a way to stop this
Yeah,
center spoon feeding stuff.
yeah, and
Um,
it's always when they play somebody with like a good defensive center. Like
yeah,
when you go even back to his days with the Clippers, like Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan had their way with everybody on pick and rolls and lobs, but they go up against the Grizzlies or they go up against the Thunder. You have guys like Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, who both of them in their prime are the two best defensive centers in the NBA. So they were able to neutralize that and they're able to make everything kind of stay perimeter.
yeah,
Which maybe now helps, but like even in the finals last year, like Giannis was able to completely shut down anything in the pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton. Um, and I mean, you saw what happened. Like he was able to just take over on both ends.
mm-hmm.
But
But the thing with the Suns is like they do have a lot of scores on the outside too.
mm-hmm.
Like Cameron Johnson's basically automatic from three.
Yeah,
Jay Crowder's inconsistent, but when he's on, he's on.
yeah.
Same with Bridges, really.
Uh-huh.
But
And Devin Booker's have it
obviously,
like one of the big knocks, at least from Suns fans, about Devin Booker is that he was like never consistent from three. But this year he's shooting over
yeah,
40%, and he's finally staying consistent. So he's even more dangerous like that. I mean, he was a mid-range assassin up until this point, but he's expanded to three-point range to be consistent, and that makes him even more dangerous. Like
yeah.
they're built for the playoffs. They're absolutely built for the playoffs. They
But
can.
for some reason, he's having like his worst. He's having his worst shooting year from two since his sophomore year, which is kind of weird. How he's had the best 3-point shooting year and then the worst kind of 2-point shooting year.
Yeah,
um,
yeah. But I
yeah,
mean, I'm not. I don't think that's like
no,
that's not gonna affect. I mean, he's too good of a player to let that happen to him.
yeah,
But yes, Phoenix is dangerous. You touched on Dallas as well. They've played really well. They have the fourth best defensive rating in the league right now, which is crazy considering Luka is their best player. Like he's been good on defense, which I didn't expect to say this early in his career. Um, so there's a lot of good teams out west. There's the teams that are like starting to hit their groove too. Like Dallas is starting to hit their groove. Memphis has been in a groove all year. Phoenix is hitting their groove. Like the top five right now is pretty set. Like they're pretty dangerous.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
And team outside the top 5, Denver, our team, they kind of, I mean, they won like 4 or 5, but they lost not last night, but Sunday to Utah, which was, I mean, kind of expected. But there is some good news around Jamal Murray. There was a report by Harrison Wind of DNVR that he could be back by the All-Star break, and which is like insane because that's in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I think he means it has to be after the All-Star break. Like there's no way that he's coming back before. That's too soon. And especially with the Bol news about his foot, like,
oh yeah,
like the training staff, I don't trust a word they say. I didn't trust a word they say even before this, but now like it's just confirmed that they stink.
Yeah, that's
so I'm pretty sure he's just gonna be back like the first game after the All-Star break is probably gonna be his debut, which I'm very excited about. It's just gonna help so much. And he's not going to be 100%, but just knowing that it's like that close, like it's only like 5-6 weeks away, is very, very. It's a relief to know that.
Yeah.
And then very similarly, Michael Porter Jr.
It's really looking like he's going to be back for the playoffs.
Yeah, and that is huge. I mean, huge. You could tell he wasn't fully healthy like the whole year. I mean, the first game against Phoenix, that was the only good game he had the entire season. He looked really good in preseason, but I'm pretty sure he tweaked his back in that Phoenix game because since then he looked horrific. So if he's able to be fully healthy by playoffs, like I don't know how many teams are going to be able to beat Denver because they looked so good fully healthy last year. And if they're able to be fully healthy minus PJ Dozier, who, I mean, he's definitely not coming back. But if they're able to be fully healthy going in the playoffs, like their team, nobody wants to play, like absolutely nobody, because they're just too good. They're too good fully healthy.
Yeah.
Like, you put 2 all-star caliber players around Jokic. I mean, he already has them somehow above 500. Like this team without Jokic has not won. They won one game without Jokic. That's it. And it was against the Pacers. It wasn't even against a good team. But without Jokic, they are 1-5, 1-6. Like they're horrific. They're horrible without. So,
and I mean, obviously, just looking at the net rating and stuff without Jokic too is just horrendous. But also, like the thing about Murray coming back is one of these reasons the net rating is horrendous is because Facundo Campazzo's playing.
Yeah.
And when you get Murray back, that moves Morris to the bench, and that essentially kicks Campazzo out of the rotation. Even though Campazzo's loved by like non-Nuggets fans, they see his passes and think he's amazing. But like
if you look at his highlights, you think that he's the greatest point guard of all time because his highlights are ridiculous. Like they're when he plays good.
Yeah, and
he's incredible.
He has those games phenomenal. Where he plays extremely well. He's dishing the ball out. He's not dribbling the air of the ball. He's playing great defense. He's hustling everywhere. Really he kind of does that, every game, hustling and stuff. Really, it comes down to, can he make his shots? Like when he's not hitting, he'll have these games where he goes like 4 for 6 from 3 and he plays amazing. And then I'll have the games where he goes 0 for 6 from 3 and it's just, the offense just cannot score with him out on the court. And there's way too many of those games like that. And yeah, I mean, when you move Morris to the bench, Morris is always consistent. And I think that can really make the bench better.
It'll make it so much better. Like Monte being able to just like control the game is going to help so much. And I think it's especially going to help for Bones Highland. Like Bones has so much pressure on him as a rookie to carry the bench offense. And the last 3 games, he's honestly done a great job. Like he's made 5 threes last two out of the last 3 games, made 4 against, or 4 or 3 against Utah. Like he's starting to get into a groove again, which is good to see because he's so key to the offense. But like, if he has a lot less on-ball creation, like pressure on him, it'll open up a lot more for him too. And if MPJ is back, it moves Jeff Green to the bench, and then Jeff Green is able to solidify that because he's played really well.
He has.
ever since he got
But
back from COVID. So
to be honest, like, is a lot of Jeff Green. It seems like a lot of it is because of how good Jokic is.
yeah,
And I feel like when Jeff Green has been on the bench, they still haven't really performed.
that's true. That is true. I think some of it also has to do with JaMychal Green, like being the worst player in the NBA this season. I don't know what happened because he was so good last year, but this season he just has not. He hasn't looked the same. I don't know. I mean, he's in COVID protocols right now, and the bench looks bad. Obviously, I mean, it's looked bad the whole year, but if he's there and he's just making open threes, it helps space the floor so much because I think Jeff Green wants to play in the paint a little more. I mean, he's dunking at the highest rate of his career right now, which is just insane. But if I don't know, I don't know the answer to the bench. Like moving Monte helps a lot, but I don't know if moving, like, I think you're right. I don't know if moving Jeff Green to the bench is a solution.
Yeah. Like with the trade deadline coming up, it does seem like they need like a actual
center.
Yeah.
And the DeMarcus Cousins thing is so, I don't know if he's.
Can he please like join?
Like, I think with the Bobo surgery, he's gonna be out. I think they said 8 to 12 weeks is the recovery thing. Hopefully he's not on the team after that anyway. But I think they'll apply for a hardship exception so that they can just sign him. Because I don't think we'll waive anybody on the roster right now. And I don't think they're going to wait to the trade deadline to trade somebody away and then sign him because he's going to have another offer by then. So,
yeah. And I think it'll be great with Cousins because he can actually like create his own shot. Really, all the big men on the Nuggets are kind of like Jokic merchants right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even like Aaron Gordon is doing a terrific job cutting and stuff. And catching the ball and like dunking, but like a lot of it is set up by Jokic. But with Cousins on the bench, he can actually make a shot without having to rely on a perfect pass.
And it'll I think Cousins will help a lot postseason wise. Like he's not that great of a defender. At least at this stage in his career, he's just lost too much athleticism with all his injuries, but he'll help rebounding so much because like watching Rudy Gobert against our bench last night was just so painful because he was getting every single offensive rebound, he's getting every single defensive rebound. He was dominating the paint, and we just had nobody to match up size-wise. And Rudy Gobert is not somebody who should be able to dominate a game that much because of his size. He should be able to dominate because he's a great rebounder and he's a great shot blocker. But if he's dominating because he's just getting everything, like everything is funneling to him, like that's not good. And you kind of saw it with the I mean, like going small ball against him works if you can shoot. Like the Lakers were making shots, and that's how they beat them playing small ball because they were able to shoot and make their shots and like spread them out. That's how the Clippers beat them too. But Denver's bench is so bad, and they can't hit open shots that didn't work. So I think Boogie also helps in that sense too.
Yeah.
So hopefully he signs at some point. I mean, it's been like 2 weeks since he announced, or like the report came out that he's signing with us, but with the Bobo thing, it all just kind of got screwed up. So hopefully it comes soon. But.
One last thing is kind of funny. Like I saw a Jazz like beat reporter saying Gobert like owned the MVP tonight. Like as of holding him to 25, 15, and 14 is owning him. Not to mention he was a +5 in a 23-point game. And as you said, Rudy Gobert feasted on the Nuggets bench.
The entire bench was a -20 or more.
Yeah.
And Rudy Gobert was a +34.
Yeah,
so like
ridiculous. And
like
God, I mean, like Malone, man, it's just no other team really just plays their entire bench at one time.
Yeah.
And it seems like Malone does that, or he plays the entire bench and then puts in like Jeff Green, who, as we said, is really, he's not going to uplift a lineup really. And so I don't know, like these teams will put in like Mitchell and Gobert and then put in, Clarkson, Ingles, Gay off the bench or something like that, but they still have their two like really great guys out there.
Yeah. And
feasting on this bench of
yeah.
Campazzo and Reed and Najee. Like,
Yeah. It'll that's the other thing with Jamal Murray coming back. It gives the opportunity to stagger like a lot more. Like you're gonna see Aaron Gordon start to stagger with the bench more. You're gonna start to see Will Barton stagger with the bench more, which has proven to be a good solution. But with him needing to play less minutes, I think you're seeing him start to come back to how he was earlier in the year when he was getting to the rim and defending well.
yeah.
But Jamal coming back helps stagger that a lot more. So I put it like there has to be a different solution. I think when Austin Rivers comes back, I think he'll play tomorrow against the Clippers. Denver should try to run Bones Highland full time at point guard and bench Facu and have, if you're going to run a 5-man bench lineup, run it with Bones, Reed, Rivers, Najee, and then Jeff Green, I guess, because he's been staggering as the backup 5. So hopefully that's what happens. I don't know if it will. Ooh, excuse me. I don't know if it will happen because Malone is extremely stubborn when it comes to that. But I mean, every single metric shows that when Facu is off the court, the team is better.
Yeah.
So, he plays extremely well against bad teams, but against good to elite teams, he cannot play well. He's just not good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also on the East side of things, the Sixers have been playing really well. Joel Embiid has been playing really well. He's not at Jokic's level or really anywhere close. Like he's just not, even though so many people want him to be.
Yeah.
But he is scoring the ball.
He's playing well. He's having a better season this year than he is last year.
Yeah.
At least to me, because his playmaking is way better this season. But I mean, it's still not enough because Jokic has also improved defensively so much.
I mean, again, this is like as I was saying, like it's like a Curry Damian Lillard debate. Like a guy that Damian Lillard, all he does is really like score and stuff, but he doesn't, like the defense with Curry and all that. Like he just opens it up so much more. And I guarantee you take Embiid off the Sixers, they will finish with a better record than if you take Jokic off the Nuggets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, credit to him for
they've been playing well. And I one of the last thing, we talked about the NBA a lot right now. But there was a report today that came out that the Sixers were offered for Ben Simmons, they were offered Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey, Kelly Olynyk, and a first rounder. And they immediately declined it. Like they didn't even give it a thought. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'd give up
a good trade.
I was like, I'd give up Sadiq Bey for Ben Simmons straight up. Are you kidding me? Or I take Sadiq Bey for Ben Simmons straight up at this point because of how much has been going on. Like, and you're also getting Jeremy Grant and a first rounder, which is not going to be good because it's the Pistons. Like, why would you not take that? I don't understand.
That is weird.
It really just didn't make it. That didn't make any sense to me.
I have no idea.
So Daryl Morey has to realize what Ben Simmons is and fix it.
Yep. Talking about another depressing Denver team, the Broncos not finished up, but they're
halfway through.
They're halfway through their interviews. They interviewed both the Cowboys coordinators, Dan Quinn and whatever his name is, first name.
Kellen Moore,
Kellen Moore. And it really looks like Dan Quinn is going to be the head coach. I think either him or Hackett, I guess, the Packers OC is really those are the two guys. And then the rest, they're just really doing their due diligence. Maybe someone just completely blows them away.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be Quinn as the head coach. And then I'm hoping Quinn has made good hires, as he was the coach of the Falcons with Shanahan and all that. So he's made good hires at OC, and I'm hoping that they can get Mike McDaniel out of the Niners or also Getsy from the Packers too. I think those guys would be really, really good OCs, and
Hmm.
especially after watching the Niners game, which we'll talk about, that run game is incredible, and especially when you got Melvin Gordon maybe, but Javonte Williams especially. I think that having McDaniel there to really fuel that running game,
Hmm.
if you can't get one of these top quarterbacks, I think it'll be a huge help.
I'm right with you on that. Like McDaniel, the way he's able to utilize everybody offensively with a subpar, I guess. I mean, I think Jimmy G's average. Like with an average quarterback, the way he's able to utilize his weapons and make them great is something the Broncos desperately need because the quarterback situation still is going to be a little iffy. I think Rodgers is a far shot. I'm That's a hunch that to me that he's going to stay. Um, Based on if Green Bay is able to make another run to the Super Bowl, then why would he leave? Um, but McDaniel, with him being able to make the Niners offense good, like they look good against both, like in the second half against LA and the first half against Dallas, they looked
Mm-hmm.
great. Like there was a great offense. There was a great game plan. They were running the ball great. Garoppolo made the throws that he needed to make, and the team was marching down the field like at will every single drive.
Yeah.
Um, so and like I think it'll be great for Noah Fant and Albert O if they're able to stay because I mean you look at what he's been able to do with George Kittle, um, and like blocking is a huge part of that scheme. Like they're gonna have to become better blockers because they're not right now. But if they can become better blockers, that offense is going to open up so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton are going to have phenomenal seasons if he's able to bring that to them. So he's my top choice for OC, and then either one of Quinn or Hackett for the head coach. I would prefer Quinn because he's been a head coach before, and he has like a track record of being good. But
Mm-hmm.
if you get Hackett, I wouldn't mind it because he seems like he knows his stuff.
Yeah, and the one like last thing about McDaniel, we really don't know how much of it is Kyle Shanahan. It seems like a lot of it is Kyle Shanahan,
Mm-hmm.
really. So we don't know how much McDaniel does, but I know like Kyle Juszczyk has said like McDaniel comes up with these insane running schemes and stuff. Like I love when he tosses the ball back on like a simple like inside zone,
Yeah.
where you just hand it off and run inside. He tosses the ball and then goes inside. And just what that can do to a defense where it's like, oh, it's a toss. It must be going outside, right? And it's like, nope, straight up the middle. And then all the pulling guards and all these, how he uses Debo to distract the defense and make them really think. Like he just puts defenders in such a tough position because they're
Yeah.
taught one thing and McDaniel and Shanahan know the exact thing to make them confused.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping like McDaniel, he seems like a super smart guy, went to Yale and all that.
Yeah.
So like I'm hoping he's learned a lot from Shanahan and also created his own stuff, which it looks like he has, um, to really step up into a full-time play calling role.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully in Denver is
Yeah. And
hometown.
that's another reason why I think Hackett should still be in the running because if you do go for a more like inexperienced play caller like Getsy or McDaniel, then Hackett is a guy with experience doing that, and he's going to be able to help them out with that at least for a little bit until they have to become a little more independent. But like being able to get an offensive minded guy to help with some of the more inexperience on the coaching staff is something that'll help a lot more. But also, if you have an inexperienced head coach and inexperienced OCs, um, that's not a recipe for success.
Yeah,
So.
I think if we would get Hackett, we really wouldn't care too much about who the OC actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Probably.
and it's the same thing with like Quinn, like, or if we get Hackett, who's going to be the DC? It seems like there's better candidates at OC than there are at defensive coordinator. And if you get Quinn coming in, it doesn't really matter who your
Yeah.
defensive coordinator is.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Donatel is still
Yeah,
here,
I
but
don't know
he got requested for the Seattle defensive coordinator job.
Oh, okay.
And if he takes that, then Denver's gonna have to we're gonna have to completely switch everything up because they don't have an OC head coach, they wouldn't have a DC or a special teams coordinator, so they're gonna have to fix all that.
I mean, Donatel has followed Vic Fangio around everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
So like, I don't know how much what he can do without Fangio. Maybe it's a sign that the Seahawks are actually no, they're keeping Carroll.
They're keeping Carroll, yeah.
Which brings up another point. They're keeping Carroll, which probably means I think Russ is gone. To be honest, I think he will not be a Seahawk next year. It seems like that relationship is kind of, done. And yeah, I mean, he was on the Manning cast last night. I was really hoping they would
talk about something.
Something about it. He did mention the Broncos with the Von Miller trade. He was like, the Broncos made this trade. I'm like, oh, we said our name. But yeah, I think Russ is gone. I think that is like the best chance of a top tier quarterback that the Broncos can get.
Yeah.
There's also Kirk Cousins stuff. I really don't. People seem to hate like Kirk Cousins.
Exactly.
Really don't mind him.
I was gonna bring that up. Like I was gonna ask, like, if Kirk Cousins was Plan B, like, would you be happy about that? It's like,
I mean, I would.
I would be happy. Like, this fan base, for whatever reason, is still so spoiled when it comes to talent. Like, we have not had a good quarterback in 6 seasons. Mm-hmm. If you take a guy who just had 4,000 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions with Clint Kubiak calling plays, I will take that in a heartbeat compared to what we had the last 3 seasons. Like, are you serious? Come on.
Yeah, I would too. And that's really all you need is just with this amount of talent on the offensive side, and then the defense obviously hopefully can be, still remain top tier. I think just getting a guy like, Kirk Cousins is enough to at least get in the playoffs and maybe win a couple playoff games too. And maybe, if they're playing Super Bowl, be on track for the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I definitely would not mind Kirk Cousins. I've seen people, I saw this poll of Broncos fans and they would rather have Jimmy G over Kirk Cousins. Like, are you serious?
What?
Yeah, it was like 39% for Jimmy G, 38% for Kirk Cousins, and then the rest was like drafted quarterback or, none of the above. So people see Jimmy G. This is like the whole thing about quarterbacks. They see someone winning and assume it's all the quarterback. Like, the quarterback does not. Oh my God.
No.
It's a team game. Football is the most team-oriented game in the world.
Kirk would also be very cheap to get. Like, not like very cheap, but with the direction that it seems Minnesota's going, like, they might be not in for a rebuild, but kind of a little bit of a reset. Mm-hmm. So they might get rid of a quarterback, have like a year where they suck, and then have a top pick to kind of maybe go for Bryce Young or CJ Stroud next year. Like, I feel like that's very possible for that to happen. If they fire their GM and they fire their head coach, like, I feel like that's possible. And Cousins, like, his cap hit is a lot. I'm pretty sure it's like $35 million. But what else are you going to spend the money on? Yeah. Like, if you get Russ or Rodgers.
Broncos have the cap.
We have more than enough cap. Even if you take on his contract, you still have more than enough money to go and shell out, for some pieces on defense still. Mm-hmm. Like, you have enough to do it. I don't know why it's such a big deal. Like, even if you go for Russ or Rodgers, they're also going to cost that much. And Kirk Cousins was a top 10 quarterback last year. I don't think that should be a hot take. Like, he was top 10. He was good. I'll take that in a heartbeat, man. So
yeah, I would too. But I guess, like, getting into the games now, super wild card weekend.
Yeah.
The second year, they added the 7th seed and it wasn't really too super, but the first game was the Bengals Raiders, and finally the Bengals get their first playoff win since the icky shuffle. 31 years they kept showing that in the game. But really it was not easy. Like, the Raiders are a tough matchup, I think, for the Bengals.
Yeah.
Because they play so much like deep stuff, and that's all the Bengals really do is those big plays. And they didn't allow any big plays really. And so I think that was, a pretty tough game for the Bengals to start out with, and coming out with a win, I think, is more impressive than just seeing it face value. Like, oh, it's the Raiders. Like, they suck. Like,
no, the Raiders
really, it's a tough matchup for the Bengals.
Yeah.
But Burrow and Chase did do enough, especially in the beginning of the game. They were pretty on fire. And then they kind of hit a lull halfway through the game, but the defense stepped up too, for the Bengals. And I thought Derek Carr did play well, um, especially like that last drive. I mean, that throw to Darren Waller on 3rd and
Yeah,
17. Like,
that was
my
incredible.
God, that was wild. They couldn't score in the red zone, which is tough. I mean, they really don't. It's like Waller, and then like there's no one else that's like a red zone threat.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't punch the ball in. The spike at the end of the game was kind of stupid because it took away. You didn't have to spike it. Like, it took away an extra play, an extra shot at the end zone at the end. And so it gave them 3 plays instead of 4 plays when there was really still a lot of time left on the clock. So
yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know.
I'm with you on the same page. Like, the Raiders played good. Like, they played as good as they could have, especially in the second half. Like, they were with them the whole time. I thought this was a very evenly matched game. The Raiders defense, I don't know what changed, but the last like 4 or 5 weeks, they have been very, very good. Like, very good. I don't know what changed. I don't know if it was a scheme change. I don't know if they changed out some personnel, but like, they didn't allow any big plays. They were keeping everything in front of them. They didn't allow anything to get deep. Second half, they shut down the passing game completely almost. They like forced the Bengals to run the ball.
Yeah, which they couldn't do anyway.
They couldn't do it at all. Yeah,
barely did anything.
Which is just so weird. Like, even when they didn't have a good run defense at all in the season. So I don't know how they just completely flipped a switch when they had all these must-win games. So like, I props to them. Like, Rich Bisaccia did a great job taking over for John Gruden. So
yeah,
this was the best game of the weekend to me. But the Bengals did a good job like staying alert, because that's not a very like vet heavy team, and their coaching staff isn't vet heavy at all. So
and when you think about the whole 31-year thing, it's like, oh, we're going to come out here firing and all that, when you can't come out here firing against a Raiders team that doesn't allow big plays. So they did a really good job, especially in the beginning of the game, keeping it short and simple. And really, I thought something that like jumped out, I think their offensive line played well enough, which usually doesn't happen.
I mean, Max Crosby, I think might have had a sack, might have had a couple of hurries, but
Burrow was only sacked twice.
Yeah, they neutralized him pretty well, which is kind of crazy considering he was going up against a backup tackle the whole game. Like, in terms of chips, in terms of double teaming him, and then in the run game they would pull and make him non-existent. Like, their scheme was very, very good. And this is another thing that goes with their offensive coordinator, Brian Callahan. Like, he's going to be interviewed for the Broncos job, and I feel like he is a dark horse because of what he's been able to do with not a lot of personnel changes the last 2 seasons. Like, they keep Burrow, offensive line stays mostly the same, Mixon's still there, they still have Higgins and Boyd. They add, like, Jamar Chase is great, but he's not good enough to take their offense from mid-tier to like top 7. So I feel like Brian Callahan has done a lot, and that's a big win. A lot of pressure. Like, that's such a pressure-filled game. Their first playoff game in 6 years, and their first playoff win in 31. Like, that's a huge win.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to touch on this. I've seen like Derek Carr rumors. Like, I mean, they were talking about it on the game, like, too. It's like, what is the future for Derek Carr and the Raiders team? I'm like, why is that being discussed? Like, Derek Carr is the least of the problems for the Raiders, I think.
Yeah.
Other than maybe Max Crosby and the kicker. Like, Derek Carr is like the least of their problems. I don't know what this discussion about him.
Especially after having a career season. Like, he had a great year this season. I really don't know what.
Think about what he had to deal with too.
Yeah, I mean, like, Darren Waller was out most of the season. Henry Ruggs, his number one receiver, goes out. Is Zay Jones and Brian Edwards as his top 2 guys.
His play caller, by the way, also is out. So like, I don't know what this thing about, like, people are like treating Derek Carr like he's like Baker Mayfield or something. like, I think they can get a first-round pick out of him, but I don't see why they would want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, he can make all the throws you need him to. He's got a
Yeah.
great arm. He's accurate. That's the biggest thing. Like he's accurate when throwing deep. He's accurate in the intermediate. He's accurate when it's close. He's smart. He doesn't turn the ball over. Like if you shore up his offensive line a little bit more and you get him a true number one receiver, I like those are pretty simple fixes.
Mhm.
And none of those are like manufactured by him. Like the problems that are the Raiders offense had was not his fault. So like if he does get traded, that would be a very Raiders thing to do. But I mean, with the fire, they did fire their GM, Mike Mayock. He's out. So hopefully they don't trade him. Like for the Raiders' sake, I hope they don't because he's too good to do that.
For the Broncos' sake, like, I wouldn't mind Derek Carr being traded. I'm like,
I'll take Derek Carr.
go draft a quarterback, please.
Yeah,
like, please. Hopefully he's a bust.
He's also
the only
leader too.
The only thing, if you are getting rid of Derek Carr, there has to be a plan of we're getting Rodgers, we're getting Wilson, or we're getting one of these guys. Like I don't know. I mean, that's really it. It's like Matt Ryan too, but Derek Carr is better than Matt Ryan.
I don't Derek Carr, like the quarterbacks who are going to be up to be able to trade, like they get Rodgers, Wilson, Watson, I guess maybe Cousins, Ryan, Garoppolo. Like I wouldn't put Carr in the tier of a Russ or a Rodgers, but
I would put him in the
tier of everybody else.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to trade for any of that, and he's going to be way better than any of the rookie quarterbacks in this year's draft. So I don't know. If they do trade him, that would be a tremendously stupid thing to do.
But it would be something that they would do. Probably.
Yeah.
They get Jim Harbaugh and they fire, and then they trade Carr. Like, please, want that? God, I hate Jim Harbaugh so much. All right, moving on to the next game. Patriots Bills, the second game of Saturday, and like, dude, my God, watching Josh Allen is just insane. Like, he could be the best player in football. I mean, he didn't even make the Pro Bowl, did he? I don't think.
Did he not?
I think, didn't they put Lamar ahead of him?
I think you're right. Hold on.
I mean, it's just ridiculous, like how he can. I'm looking at
he didn't.
The
heck?
But he's just a physical freak, of physical force, where it's like it feels like it's just like LeBron James taking over a basketball game with how he can just drive through the defenses, like his legs and his arm, just insane. And like he's got Diggs, and I mean, like, that's it, like as his weapons. I mean, like, God, he looks so good. I've never seen anyone dismantle a Belichick defense like that.
Yeah.
And it's 0 degrees too. Like you never notice the ball, being squirted out of his hands or whatever. In 0 degree weather. I mean, it's just wild.
Yeah, he's a beast. I think that he's cemented himself in the top 5, maybe even top 3.
I think top 3. Yeah, I think
he could be top 3.
I think it's Mahomes, Rodgers, and Allen in whatever order. I don't care, but
you like probably who would be third? I don't even know who third would be. Like Brady maybe, but I mean, I think Allen's a better quarterback than Brady is at this point.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, Watson, if you still count him.
Yeah. The Watson stuff is so disappointing because he's so good.
I know.
But like he can't do anything with the situation. But like getting back to Josh Allen, his arm. They figured out, like, he went through a mechanical change before last season. Like the Bills were good in 2019. They were a playoff team. They should have won a playoff game. They should have won the wild card game against Houston that season. But Allen was not good. He wasn't the reason they were good. Their defense and their run game was the reason that they made it that far. But in 2020, he like changed his mechanics. He made it more fluid. He made it less like baseball-y sidearm. He made it more over the top. And to go through that big of a mechanical change in your NFL career and to be so much better is extremely rare. and they figured out how to make his arm like perfect.
Yeah.
Like
and I mean, credit to Brian Daboll there.
Yeah.
Too. And it looks like he's probably going to get a head coaching job.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he sets up Allen to succeed, I mean, really the offense is all Allen. But the way he can I feel like so much of the offense is Allen can look at the defense, and if there's nothing there open immediately, he can just take off.
Yeah.
And the offensive line creates holes, it seems like, specifically for that. And I think if you see Daboll go to the Bears, that would be a really nice hire for the Bears and for Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at the ESPN's quarterback rankings. Okay. Rodgers, Mahomes, Brady, Herbert, Burrow, Allen. So people have them 6, 7, 5, 6, 7.
I think he's third.
I think he's third. Yeah.
I think he's pretty easily third.
I
Burrow over him, really? I love Joe Burrow, but I don't think he's better. I mean, I don't think he's better. That's a little shocking. But yeah, he's incredible. There was a stat. I don't remember exactly what it was, but this was the perfect offensive game. Every single drive, they scored a touchdown. They didn't have any negative plays. They had no turnovers.
I think their points per drive was 6.6 because they missed an extra point, and then I think they kneeled the final drive.
Yeah, they kneeled out the final.
It was 6.6 points per drive, which is just wild. So yeah, and to do it again against a top defense, maybe even the top defense of the season, with Bill Belichick.
Probably the top secondary. Against J.C. Jackson and that defense, to just do whatever you want. Jesus, man,
still. This is the thing is people still do hate on Josh Allen for some reason. They swear he's still inaccurate. He's not. He's literally incredibly accurate.
He's very, very accurate. He's not a turnover quarterback. He doesn't throw interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, it's people will point at the Falcons game, he had 3 interceptions. But it's okay, but watch the game and you know how much of a force he is out there and how much pressure he puts on the Falcons, which, by the way, they still put up 30 points. So, I don't know.
And in his career in the red zone, he has 60 touchdowns to 1 interception.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
That's ridiculous.
Who, is Dawson Knox is a decent tight end who's coming along, and Diggs. But who else is a red zone kind of threat in there? I mean, it's Josh Allen.
Yeah, he is the red zone threat. None of the guys outside are. It's him.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you can't say that about many other quarterbacks. So he's great. The Bills defense played great too. That first drive that the Patriots had was their best drive of the day. I thought, they drove down and they had Nelson Aguilar on a go route on the left sideline. And then Micah Hyde laid out and made an incredible interception. If that throw gets passed and they score on the first drive of the game, this game is probably completely different.
That was a beautiful throw too.
It was a great throw. It wasn't underthrown at all. It was just a ridiculous play by Micah Hyde. He was on the other side of the field and he somehow was able to rotate over.
Those 2 safeties are incredible.
Yeah, that's probably the top 2. That's probably the top safeties tandem in the league.
Yeah, it probably is.
I'm pretty sure both of them are all pros. I know Poyer was first team, which I don't think he should have been first team, but
I feel Hyde is probably better than Poyer.
Yeah, yeah. But regardless, both of them made an all pro team, which I mean they're the only their safety tandem to do that. So and that's gonna help a lot against Kansas City, which will.
Oh, dude, I'm so. Can it be Saturday, please, or whenever? Sunday. That's going to be the game of the year.
Let me see what it is.
It's Sunday at 4:30.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, dude, this division. We're going to talk about it later, but this division weekend is going to be incredible.
Mm-hmm. A game that was not incredible. The Eagles and the Bucks.
I didn't watch a second.
Totally outclassed.
I literally didn't watch a second of this game.
and you didn't miss anything. If I could take back my time watching that game, I probably would. And do something more worthwhile. I don't know, like take a nap or something. But like the Eagles are just completely outclassed by the Buccaneers. They couldn't move the ball. The Buccaneers just did whatever. The Eagles defense was just horrendous. Like until the last like quarter, really, they just kept playing this like soft coverage against Brady, who is the king of picking
Yeah.
apart defenses in the short to intermediate game, and they just let him have it every single time. And it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, step up and like put more pressure on the receivers. I don't know. Like, that was just weird. And maybe it takes a hit on Jonathan Gannon, who is looking for a head coaching job.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like the Bucks run defense was great, which made Hurts throw the ball, which obviously he can't, like, really.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're not going to win many games with Hurts trying to throw it. I guess Hurts is hurt too.
I saw that. Yeah.
With like an ankle or something. So yeah, I mean, just the Buccaneers look great. They might be the best team, I guess, in the NFC remaining. And their defense, when that defense is fully healthy, like, man, it is incredible.
It's scary. Yeah. I know their offensive line took a couple of Tristan Wirfs. I think he got hurt. And Ali Marpet, maybe.
It was Ryan Jensen. But
Ryan Jensen.
He did come back though.
Yeah, I know both. I'm pretty sure both of them came back into the game.
Yeah.
But if they're not 100% going into a game playing Von Miller and Aaron Donald, that's gonna be that's definitely a matchup to watch. But yeah, I mean, the Bucks, they're good. They're very good. They're 2 seed for a reason.
Yeah.
Like they take care of business. Their offense, like, I'm pretty sure they get Fournette back. Gronk is to full healthy. Mike Evans is starting to get more and healthier by the week.
Yeah.
So they're going to be dangerous. They're going to be very dangerous.
Yeah. And I just wanted to like talk about, I guess, like Jalen Hurts. Like, what do we think about Jalen Hurts? Like, is he? It'd probably be better to ask like a Philly fan, but
yeah,
like I don't know if you can win playoff games. Like, you gotta go all in on this. I think on like a Lamar Jackson type of offense where you get an incredible tight end, which Goddard is pretty good, but
yeah,
and you just, I mean, they had that identity, I guess, at the end of the regular season, but they were playing some really horrible teams. Like the identity of like running the ball and then taking deep shots, which Hurts is actually better, I think, at throwing the deep ball than he is at trying to like pick apart a defense. So, I mean, I guess they had kind of had that identity, but it's just, it can get stopped in the playoffs, I think. And
yeah,
and I don't know.
To me, I think you have to give him at least one more year. I would give him just next year to see if he can get you back to the playoffs and maybe win another game and get you back to the playoffs convincingly. If you kind of like limp into the playoffs like they did this year as a 7 seed with like a very unimpressive win resume, then you probably look somewhere else. But like looking at how the Broncos handled Drew Lock, like he has a promising first year where there's like he only starts a handful of games. Then his second season, it's up and down. Like you can see that he has some talent. You can see he has promise, but there's a lot of bad stuff. So that going into the third year, which is very critical, like it was the Josh Allen year where he took the leap. It was the Super Bowl year for Mahomes. Like that third year is very important for young quarterback development. I would just give him that year to start, especially considering that there's not a lot of options.
Yeah.
To get
I would too. We'll see. Also, Jalen Reagor, by the way, is not an NFL player. I don't think. Like he dropped a punt, which is always horrible, but he also can't catch the ball as a receiver. He can't run fast. His whole thing out of college was like, oh, he's fast, but he's really not that fast. I mean, he's just. I feel bad for Philly fans because he should have had Justin Jefferson, and Jalen Reagor will swear he's the next Randy Moss on Twitter, but he's pretty bad.
Yeah, he's been a
mean,
major disappointment.
You probably need another weapon too for the Eagles. Devontae
Yeah.
Smith looks amazing.
Yeah, Devontae Smith was really good. They do have the Colts first rounder this year. So they are going to be in position.
I think they have 3 first-round picks.
Oh, they do. Hold on. Let me look at this. Look at the draft order. Oh, hold on. Whoa. Okay, Denver just had a trade. So.
Oh, dude, I was just seeing that Bryn Forbes and.
Yeah. So.
What? Wait, PJ Dozier?
Yeah. So okay. Well, I guess we'll react to this live. What the heck?
Bro, are you serious? So
Juancho Hernan-Gomez to the Spurs. Dang, I wish he could come back. Just for the vibes, because he's not good at basketball, but for the vibes. Bryn Forbes to Denver, which I love. Bryn Forbes.
I do. He kills us.
He always kills us. So that is very hype. And Bobo and PJ Dozier to the Celtics. Neither of those guys are gonna play again this season. I don't know why the Celtics are even there, but that is huge for Denver. Oh my god.
Hey, dude, we don't have to play Campazzo. We were just talking about him.
Yes.
Now we probably don't have
unless he takes Bones out of the rotation.
Yeah. Bryn Forbes is interesting because now we actually have a legit shooter.
A shooter, like a shooter. This is the first time in the Jokic era we've had just like a knockdown guy.
Yeah.
Dang. Wow.
Dude, okay.
Like this is just like for most NBA fans, it's just like, oh, what the heck? But we finally get Bobo out. That means we can and PJ. That's 2 guys off the roster. I feel bad for PJ. Like if he was healthy, he'd be a huge part of this team. But I mean, if he has a torn ACL, there's really no point in keeping him on the roster.
Seeing PJ go is sad because
that is sad. I love PJ,
and I know the players love him too.
Yeah, no, I love PJ Dozier. I think like if he was healthy, I think if he just him and Barton are healthy last year, even without Jamal Murray, I think that Phoenix series goes at least 6 games because he's that good defensively. But like, I mean, we never applied for a hardship exception for him.
Yeah.
Which was very weird. But now I guess it makes sense. We were planning on something like this. And now Bobo's finally off the roster.
I know. Hey, we better sign. I think we got rid of 2 players. DeMarcus Cousins could get signed.
I think, and this opens up him to get a full roster spot instead of a 10-day.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would be very happy about. So
Bryn Forbes and DeMarcus Cousins added to the bench. I think that is pretty.
That's gonna help a lot. That's gonna help a lot. That is actually really good.
I'm seeing this tweet too. Adam Mares or whatever how you pronounce it. It's like Davon Reed. He's talking about Davon Reed. It does seem like he could turn into that next Dozier. So.
The PJ, yeah, he definitely looks like. I think he's a better shooter than PJ is. I think Dozier's a better offensive or a better defensive player, but he's got that capability.
Yeah. He destroyed LeBron.
He did. He like dominated LeBron. It was very odd. I did not expect that to happen.
That was awesome.
But man, this is a good. I like this trade. I really like this trade, for Denver.
Bryn Forbes shooting 41.7%. He shot 45% from 3 with the Bucks last year. Averaging 9 points. I mean, that's all he's going to give you. He's not.
He's going to be a shooter. He's just a knockdown guy.
Yeah.
So this is big. This is big for Denver. I really don't know why the Celtics are even a part of this trade.
I mean, I guess they're just banking on they're not contending this year, so I guess trying to see if Bol can be something and maybe.
But he's not going to play for another 3 months. So
I know, but I'm talking about for next year.
He's a free agent.
Oh,
he's not even guaranteed a spot. I really don't know what the Celtics are doing.
I mean, I don't know. Does Juancho even play for him?
No, he doesn't. He was just salary. He's making a lot of money because he signed a big deal last year. So
I don't know why the Spurs did that, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. I don't know. It's a weird trade. Weird trade
yeah.
overall.
Well,
But it helps in Denver's.
we can add that to the title. Live reaction to Bryn Forbes trade.
League breaking.
Yeah. League shatter. I guess back to football.
Yeah, I guess.
Niners Cowboys actually came at like a pretty perfect time. Like we were just wrapping up that game.
Yeah.
Niners Cowboys. The Niners, or by the way, we were 6 for 6, I think, on our picks, right?
We were.
Um,
Big brains.
yeah, and the Niners look really good, and the Cowboys offense, completely failed them. This is what I was trying to like say. Like Kellen Moore's offense is just not very. It's very simplistic, and when you face a good defense like this, I can put pressure on the quarterback. I think it is hard to function. But yeah, the Cowboys defense did play well, keeping them at least kind of in the game. I mean, Jimmy G played well too, up until he made like 2 mistakes. There was one to Ayuk, like 30 yards down the field that pretty much would have sealed it.
Yeah.
And he missed him.
Mm-hmm.
Just wide open.
He completely burned Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah, he did.
Absolutely.
And then the other throw, which was the interception, which I found just like insane. Like I don't know how you can be dealing this entire game. I mean, he was making a lot of good throws.
He was
in the first half. Like I remember like a throw to the outside to like Juwan Jennings on a 3rd and maybe like 8 or something, and it was just on the money with
Juwan Jennings came out of nowhere, man. Yeah, he was undrafted, right? I'm pretty sure.
Was he? I don't know.
He came out of like the last 2 weeks. Every single 3rd down was just Juwan Jennings first. Like what?
Yeah.
When? How? Mm-hmm. He came out of nowhere, but he's played well.
He did.
That interception.
I guess he's a 2nd-year player, but he didn't play last year.
But I don't know how he missed that interception. He was wide open. They were both in line with each other, and he just completely sailed it over his head.
That's what I'm saying. It's like he was playing well this entire game, and then he just throws it like 5 feet over the guy's head. I'm like, it's not even a deep throw either.
Yeah,
it was
like a 5-6 yard dump off.
I mean, that's what you're gonna really get out of Jimmy, but he did, play well when he had to make the throws. Obviously the run game was just destroying the Cowboys the entire game. But when he had to make the throws, he was up until the 4th quarter, whenever.
Yeah. This was a very good, we both picked the Niners to win because they just matched up so well against Dallas, but I didn't expect Dallas to look so bad in the first half. Like they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like their offense couldn't get anything done. Zeke, I was revealed he was playing with like a PCL tear, which is pretty severe. But I mean, they even when they were down, they never ever committed to the run.
Yeah.
Which is so weird because that's such a big part of their offense. Like CeeDee Lamb, I don't even think he had a catch.
Really?
Yeah, he was completely non-existent. Cooper got shut down for most of the game. Who is their leading receiver? I need to check this.
Probably Cedric Wilson, I guess.
I don't even know because they just were so bad. Like their leading receiver. Oh, ASU's Wi-Fi would work. Dalton Schultz, 7 catches, 80 yards. But like Zeke had 12 carries for 31 yards. Like that 2.6 yards a carry. Cooper had 6 for 64 on a touchdown. Cedric Wilson had 5 for 62, and then CeeDee Lamb had 1 for 21. But you gotta get more than that.
Yeah, you
do. Dak Prescott threw 43 times. You don't have a single guy over 100 yards, and he had 254 yards passing. That is horrible. It's horrible. And it's because they had to throw. The run game was not working, but they never committed to it. I mean, Tony Pollard only had 4 rushes. I mean, he was arguably better than Zeke in the regular season. I don't know why you only give him 4 touches.
Yeah. So, I mean, their offensive line was pretty terrible too.
That's true.
I mean, even when Nick Bosa came out of the game, like there really wasn't even much of
Yeah.
a drop off.
But yeah,
If at
once
all.
Fred Warner got hurt, then you could see like
Yeah.
they started getting something going.
But
But
I
if you
think
need their
both will
two
be,
best defensive players to get something going, like that,
yeah. I think both will be good for the
yeah,
next game. I
hopefully.
really thought Warner tore his
It
ACL.
looked like it. He was down for so long. He looked like he
Yeah.
was in so much pain.
I don't know what the deal was with that. And then Bosa with the concussion, I mean, he'll probably be back
I
too.
think he'll be fine.
Which, and this Niners, Debo Samuel is just insane. Like, I remember putting him, I think like mid-season we did our wide receiver rankings, and I put him like in the top 3 or something.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that now. Like, he's not even like a receiver anymore, really.
Nah, he's like he's a hybrid. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah. But just the way, like, he would be a top running back if he ran it. Just his explosiveness is just wild. Like,
he has like
through the line,
Javonte Williams level tackle breaking and like just in terms of how hard he is to get down. But his speed and explosiveness and his first burst is on par with anybody in the NFL. And I mean, it's just that's because of Mike McDaniel and Kyle Shanahan. They see this, they're able to like, you know what? We have like one of the most unique talents in the NFL. This is how we're going to be able to help him and make the offense so much better. Like even Elijah Mitchell had a good game, but Debo being able to like spell that with them not having a backup running back and you being able to use your number one wideout
I know
as your running back 2 and still have him as your wide receiver 1, like that's insane. He's just an incredible talent.
Yeah,
like that's he's gonna be a top 5 fantasy pick, like easily.
And I think him or the Niners will be a tough matchup for the Packers. Next game, Steelers Chiefs. I mean, this was a blowout, really. I mean, it was pretty close in the first quarter. Like the Steelers had the lead, I think, maybe at the end of the first.
Because this game was happening same time Nuggets Jazz was happening. So at halftime, I switched it over to this. I saw like 4 plays maybe, and one of them was TJ Watt getting a scoop and score. And then I stopped, and then the next time I check, it's 21-7. I'm like, all right.
It was insane.
Okay.
I watched this full game at a restaurant, but like just the way the Chiefs can just do that against a good defense too, like where they're struggling the first few drives. I think they went maybe 3 and out their first 3 drives. I don't know if that's completely correct, but it felt like that. And I mean, the Steelers did too. They had like 4 total yards and 7 points. Like they had 4 total yards and like had the lead at one point. Which was funny, but like how they can go from looking pretty rough to just putting up 35 points in 11 minutes, I'm pretty sure.
It's just insane.
Just wild. Like
that offense is ridiculous.
It's so beautiful too. It's just the way that Mahomes just throws it. I mean, just he had the one where he just a classic like Mahomes play, like scramble to the right and then waited for Kelsey, I think, to get open I think it was Kelsey to get open at the end of the first half. And he found him deep.
Kelsey finally had like a breakout. I mean, not a breakout. It's Travis Kelsey, but like he finally had a dominating game.
Yeah.
So that's scary going into a game with him having momentum. And Tyreek Hill also had a good game. Like he didn't look like he was hurt at all.
Yeah.
So if both of them being fully healthy, that's like the worst possible scenario for the Bills. But I mean, their offense looked incredible.
Yeah.
Like I didn't watch a lot of this game, but what I did watch was just like, okay, this is like what the heck.
Mahomes had the second ever 400-yard, 5 touchdown game in NFL history, which, funny enough, the first was by Big Ben in 2017.
That was against the Jags, right?
Yeah, it's the Jags. That spectacular Jags defense. that everyone credits Tom Brady for beating. Roethlisberger put up 405 touchdowns. But anyways, whatever. Yeah, just
No,
the
Steelers.
Chiefs' defense was good. Thank God Big Ben is retiring. I really didn't want the Steelers in the playoffs at all because of this.
Yeah. The Steelers, they were just, I mean, they had no shot. Like, their defense had to have the greatest performance in NFL history for them to have a chance. And because their offense is just so bad. But now they're probably gonna have to trade up for something to get a quarterback. I mean, you have to take a quarterback. Like, I don't know what else. Like,
or just try to trade for. I mean, I feel like they would be in the same spot as the Broncos were if Wilson or Rodgers comes available. They could potentially make a trade.
The only problem is they don't have enough cap. Like, they don't have that much cap room.
Yeah.
To shell out to guys. Like, that's why I think the Broncos are the best destination for any like big quarterback, big name guy, because even if we absorb your massive deal, we're still gonna have a fat load of money to give to everybody else.
Yeah.
So
I found this insane stat. Someone tweeted. Let me look up like to total playoff games. All right, so like this is like the EPA leaderboard of like all-time playoff EPA leaderboard. Is Tom Brady 1 because he's played so many games. Rodgers 2, Breeze 3, and by the way, like all these guys have played an insane amount of playoff games, right? Patrick Mahomes is 4 with 9 career playoff games, ahead of Peyton Manning, who has 27. I mean, it's just wild what he does in the playoffs. How he's really the only quarterback to get better in the playoffs.
Yeah,
like Manning, Brady, Rodgers, all kind of struggle in the playoffs.
Yeah,
the way Patrick Mahomes can look better, I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah, I like it. That's the one reason why Vic Fangio was like, I wanted to keep him, just because he's the only guy who was able to figure out Patrick Mahomes. In the 3 seasons that we've played him, or that we've played the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes has never had a good game against us. He's never had a good one. And Vic Fangio was like, he set the scheme for that. And like, I mean, he is one of the greatest defensive coordinators in NFL history, but it takes that to beat a 4th year, 5th year man. Like,
yeah. Dude, I'm scared for next year. I think Mahomes is gonna go insane next year. Like, because this whole like every single team is playing like this cover 2 deep high safety type thing against the Chiefs, where they don't allow big plays. Like Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in an offseason, they're going to figure out the perfect stuff to just destroy that. Like, I bet the first like 5 games for the Patrick Mahomes next year might be the best 5 games we've like ever seen.
It could be.
And then the defense will have to try to fix that. And then it's just crazy how like all the defenses just copy each other to stop this one guy. It's insane.
Yeah. He's insane. He might, I don't know. I think he's still the best quarterback in the league. And he had like a down year.
I know.
4,500 yards and 30 plus touchdowns is a down year. Are you kidding me?
It's just wild.
That was like the average of Peyton Manning's career with Denver. and that was like the best I've ever seen a quarterback play. Those the first 3 seasons him in Denver, that was the best I've ever seen a quarterback play. And Mahomes has his down years like that. Like, what? Hello?
I know.
He's
and like
ridiculous.
I mean, there's even haters out there too with like Mahomes and stuff. At first, I don't know how you can like hate him really. I mean, he's the best quarterback I've ever seen like play. Like talent wise.
Yeah.
And it's like they'll like say like, oh, it's like all because of the weapons and stuff. Really, like the weapons aren't amazing.
This season he doesn't have like a lot.
Yeah, like you got Tyreek and Kelsey, obviously, but outside of that, I mean, it's not. They don't. First of all, they don't have a big jump ball receiver who, Mahomes is awesome at throwing it up there and having his receiver be our defender. They don't have a guy like that this year. And he's still able to do this. And by the way, I'm looking it up now. Patrick Mahomes, like in his career without Tyreek Hill, still has a 103 passer rating, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception in 5 games without Tyreek Hill in his career. So it's like 347 yards per game without Tyreek Hill. So I mean, like, this is not because of weapons. I mean, this guy is an elite talent.
Yeah, he is. You could see it. Like, if it was just because of the weapons, like Alex Smith would have had much better seasons because he had the same weapons that Mahomes did. Like the season before Mahomes was the exact same team. It's the same team. And then the next year, Mahomes goes out and throws for almost 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. So,
and people talk about like how they do all these screens and stuff, and like, oh, Mahomes' receivers are always wide open and stuff like that. Well, it's because of the pressure he puts on a defense, the fact that they know he can bomb it so far. Like, that's why these screens are wide open. And why this stuff underneath is open this year.
No, everything is gonna connect next season.
Yeah,
because there's like the big play, they know what can take it away. Now when they can start working on the intermediate stuff and start designing plays for intermediate things, like but also keeping those big plays
down. Yeah,
Jesus, it's terrifying.
And their defense, by the way, looking good too.
Finally get rid of Daniel Sorensen.
Scared. I know. But all right, Cardinals Rams, the last game of the playoffs. I thought this was going to be like the best game, and it was not. I mean, Kyler Murray, first of all, looked really bad.
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, we got this right with the whole Cardinals like downfall.
It just came a little later than we expected.
Yeah. Like Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, that was just a horrible play calling game.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing special about anything that they did.
It's like this, like LA goes and scores in their first drive after the Cardinals go 3 and out on their first drive. They don't come out with any urgency. They don't come out with any different like sets. They don't come out with anything that would like change the complexion of a game. Like, they don't start out, but they went the same exact sequencing. They did it. Like, I don't like, you have to be able to sense that the game is gonna get out of hand if you don't score. Because like, if you go 3 and out and the team gets a touchdown in their first drive immediately after, like, you got to be able to sense that. Like, Cliff Kingsbury, he's a great offensive mind, but when it comes to game planning and when it comes to play calling, I really don't know if you can like be that guy with him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's obviously tough without, a top 5 receiver, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins changes this game. Like, I don't know if I don't know if the Rams still win. I think the Rams probably still win, even if Hopkins is in.
Yeah.
But I mean, nobody was creating any separation. Christian Kirk and Rondale Moore weren't doing anything. Zach Ertz was completely non-existent. I mean, it was like a wasted trade pretty much because he didn't do anything. The run game wasn't working at all. Chase Edmonds couldn't do anything. James Conner, he had a lot of touchdowns, but he's averaging like 3 yards a carry on the season.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to do anything. So I don't know. Just a weird year.
On the Rams side, like you can just see the different level Kingsbury and McVay are on. Like, on the Rams side, like, everyone was wide open. I mean, McVay made it super easy on Stafford. Like, didn't even allow him to force a throw that could have been intercepted. Like, every single pass was just wide open down the middle of the field. The Cup, or he had the good throw and catch to Beckham in the end zone. Other than that, like, nothing.
Odell, I mean, this is Odell. He's had 6 touchdowns in 9 games with them. Von Miller has 5 sacks in their last 6 games. or 6 sacks in the last 5 games, one of those two. So like they took 2 guys who people thought were washed and they turned them into positive playoff players.
really, they weren't like washed.
They weren't washed. Everyone just, for whatever reason, everyone thought they were washed. Like Von Miller was never washed. Odell was 100% never washed. They just had a horrible scheme in Cleveland.
Yep.
And they
also ran the ball well.
They did run the ball well. Cam Akers changes their run game a lot because he's got like breakaway speed somehow. I seriously don't know how he's like playing right now.
Dude,
like it makes no sense. He tore his ACL or his Achilles 6 months ago.
Yeah.
It took Kevin Durant like 2 full years to come back and play a game. And
wild.
Cam Akers comes back in 6 months.
And this is a much more like physical, demanding sport too.
It's just insane. It makes me so angry because the Rams are owned by the same guy the Nuggets are. And we have a horrible training staff. And their training staff gets a guy off an Achilles ready in 6 months. Are you serious? Jamal should have been ready by opening night. Like
for real, dude.
So that's just crazy. But like their run game works so well. And I've noticed that every time I watch the Rams, they run this play a lot. They'll do a play action. It'll be a bootleg, and not a bootleg, but it'll be like a long play action. It'll roll Stafford out left, and they'll have Van Jefferson on the left side run like a deep post, a deep corner to the middle of the field, and it is always wide open.
Yeah,
Stafford's so good at that throw, and he hit it a couple times in this game. So they looked really good. The Rams look really, really good.
Yeah, they did.
So it'll be a good matchup with them and Tampa.
Yep. And looking forward to those next games. The next 4, I guess, like we'll just do our pick. I mean, we already did our picks, I guess, like the brackets, and because everyone won, we don't really have to. I do actually want to change my picks, but like the bracket that we did last podcast is perfect.
There's one more part of the trade. Denver or San Antonio acquires Denver's 2028 second round pick. Some like 7th grader right now is gonna be on the Nuggets. No, you're gonna be on the San Antonio. Sorry about that. But keep going.
But yeah, okay. So Bills Chiefs. I do want to change my pick. I think this game is gonna be. I hope it's gonna be so good.
This is tough. This is really tough.
It's like, Josh Allen played so well, but like you look at last year, like I'm taking last year into account. Mahomes has already owned this Bills defense multiple times. The Chiefs defense is better than it was in the regular season matchup between these two teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just think if the Chiefs cornerbacks are like super physical.
Yeah.
Right. And again, as we talk about the weapons, there's a lack of them in Buffalo. So if you can contain Diggs, there's like no one else. And with the press coverage that the Chiefs play and the physical coverage, like I don't know if anyone can get really open.
That Buffalo has to run the ball well. Like they're not a good rushing team.
They do.
But they have to run it well, because if they have to throw against this team when they're one-dimensional, then it's going to be rough. Dawson Knox had an incredible game against Kansas City the first time these guys played. Like he had like 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like he played incredible. But like we talked about, like outside of him and Diggs, there's not really like a true weapon. Like Emmanuel Sanders, I guess, but he's like on the back end. Like he's on the decline.
McKenzie has speed.
McKenzie,
but they mostly use him in the jet sweep type of game too.
So
like passing.
They use their weapons, like they use McKenzie in ways that are a little like unorthodox, but they work. Like they're able to get him the ball in space. Gabriel Davis is a good, I guess, like target. Like a good. He's gonna have to have a good game because a lot of the attention is gonna be on Diggs and Knox. But if Zach Moss and Devin Singletary aren't able to get a good push from their offensive line and get holes, like it's going to be
to run the ball.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm still picking Buffalo because I think they're a better team than KC. but like at home, like a
Yeah,
playoff
that's
matchup at home, like that's tough. That's tough.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I just
I'm
feel
going
like
Buffalo. I'm sticking with my gut, but
okay.
it's like Kansas City. The way they played, man, that is it. It's tough to switch it up.
I just feel like the Chiefs might match better with the Bills, I guess, than the Bills match with the Chiefs. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like I know the Bills have those incredible safeties and that's the defense teams are running, but
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes has already destroyed that in the playoffs last year. Um, adding Jerick McKinnon, by the way,
That was a huge
has
pickup.
has looked amazing.
Huge pickup.
I mean, he's just way better than like Daryl Williams or
Yeah,
whatever his name is,
he just
Damien. I
got
don't know.
such. It's such more speed. Just such a like a burst
Yeah,
compared to anybody else in their
and that
backfield.
offensive line is like really good,
Mm-hmm.
running offensive line.
Yeah.
And God, I don't know. This could be like one of these rare games where it's like it might come down to who plays better at quarterback. Like
Yeah.
it just might. Like
Yeah. Because the Buffalo's run defense is still good.
yeah,
Um, so it's a lot of it's going to be on the arm of Mahomes, and a lot of Buffalo's offense is going to be on the arm of Allen.
it's like
This is
who do
this
I
is
who do I
tough.
think?
Who do you like? Is who do you trust more in a playoff setting,
And I think it's
Allen or Mahomes?
Mahomes.
It's got to be Mahomes.
And
If it comes down to that, you're just trusting that it's got to be Mahomes. But
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with. Dude, I don't know, man. All right, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs, even though I picked the the Bills
Mhm.
last week, but like that was like far in advance. I really never really thought
Yeah,
about the matchups and stuff.
yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. Um, I'm gonna write it
This
down.
game is going to be incredible. This is going to be
Yeah,
such a good game. All these games are going to be really good. Like this is like the best possible scenario in terms of just pure entertainment wise.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and Titans Bengals is another one of those. Like, ooh, that this is another team that matches up like very like the Bengals match up pretty well with Tennessee. Like when you look offensively, Titans have a really good run defense, but their secondary is kind of meh. Like it's shaky. Like they have leaks. And that is what Cincinnati relies on so much offensively is getting the ball deep. So if they're able to exploit that, then the Bengals, Cincinnati could definitely win this game. However, Tennessee's going to be fully healthy. They got their bye. They're going to be fully healthy. I'm expecting Derrick Henry to play in this game. They're going to be able to run the ball down Cincy's throat. They lose Larry Ogunjobi, I think that's his first name. They lose him.
Yeah.
He's going to be out. Trey Hendrickson might not play. He's not definitely not going to be 100%. Because they got the clear edge in the trenches. Like in terms like Tennessee's offensive line compared to Cincinnati's defensive line, Tennessee's offensive line wins that battle 100 times. So
That's the thing with the Titans. They are not gonna lose the line of scrimmage
no,
either way.
no,
Um, I'm gonna go with the Titans.
me
I also
too.
think like it comes down to the Chiefs pass blocking too. Like the Titans have some, stout pass rushers
Yeah,
with Harold Landry, Bud Dupree, both coming off the edge, and then Jeffrey Simmons up the middle is pretty good too. Um, like if they can keep Burrow clean, yeah, the Bengals can win this game, but
it's got
I
to be
don't know if
hard to
they
keep him
will.
clean. It's going to be
Yeah,
really hard to keep him clean.
Mike Vrabel is gonna, I think, come up. I don't know if he can really stop Jamar Chase, but
Yeah,
there's got to be ways to try to limit
neutralize. You got to
the
like soft
jump
double
balls.
him or something. You got to have some
Yeah,
safety shadowing him when he goes deep at all times.
yeah, because you just can't allow these back shoulder
No, you can't allow him to go
throws.
one on one in
Yeah.
anything past like 15 yards. Like if he's one on one past that, you already lost. Like
Mhm.
Burrow's gonna get it to him. Which is why like this is such a sneaky matchup because their secondary really isn't that solid. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot about them being able to pressure the quarterback and their linebackers controlling everything over the middle. But on the outsides, like there's gonna be areas to get it to. So
Mm-hmm.
it's tough. I'm gonna go Tennessee because I think that they're the best team in the AFC. Well, I don't anymore, but I think that I just think controlling the line of scrimmage is so important in a playoff
Yeah.
game.
And they're
and
not
they're
really
gonna
going to like
control it on
mess
both
up, especially as you said, like super healthy now on the offensive side.
ends. Mhm.
I mean, it's going to be a hard offense to stop.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll both go with the Titans there.
Yeah.
And then NFC Bucks Rams. Rams won the first matchup in week 4, which really you can't take
A
too
while
much
ago, yeah.
out of. All
This
these
was
games
tough.
are so tough.
This is tough.
I mean, I think I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers because the defense looks incredible.
Uh-huh. I gotta go. I gotta stick with my guns and go Ram. I mean, I picked the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta stick.
I think
with,
I picked the Buccaneers.
yeah. This is our one. Like our brackets were the exact same except this
Yeah,
one right here. You picked the Bucks. I picked the Rams.
and now I switched to the Chiefs, and I'm probably gonna lose this because I switched it.
Ah, I just the Bucks. I don't know, man. Like it, they don't like have a weakness.
Yeah.
Like they really don't. Like, if you're able to run the ball against them, you can win. But that's so hard because
It's-
Vita
but
Vea
you-
just
but you
Vita Vea
can't.
and Dominic Sue just swallow up everything. And then off the edges, you still have Shaq Barrett out there. And then they get Levante David's coming back.
Mhm.
They have Devin White still. Their
corner
secondary,
solid too.
their
That's-
secondary has been good.
By the way, Whitehead, dude,
yeah,
he's a beast.
Mhm.
Right? I mean, he's playing out of his mind. Like every time I turn on a Bucks game, I feel like he's making these tackles in the backfield. I'm like, damn, why doesn't this guy get talked about more? Like,
Yeah, he's really good. So and hold on, I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name though. Like
Jordan Whitehead.
maybe let me see
I think that's what it is.
box score.
And their two corners, Davis and Dean, are pretty solid too. So
Yeah, Jordan Whitehead. I was thinking of Antonio Winfield, but Jordan Whitehead as well,
okay.
or
Yeah.
Antoine Winfield. Both of those guys.
And I think
Very
they have
good.
another
Jordan
guy,
Whitehead.
Edwards, right? Mike Edwards.
Mike Edwards, yeah.
He's
They
pretty
have a
good,
lot
too.
of just like hybrid guys. Like they don't have
Yeah.
a great corner. I mean, they tried it with Richard Sherman, but I think he's kind of he's not the
forgot
same
he's
guy
on the
clearly
team.
anymore.
Yeah.
But like they just have a lot of hybrid guys that can stick outside or play in the back end at safety, which makes this very, very interesting because the Rams are going to have to be able to throw it. And with how Stafford's played the last few
I know.
weeks,
Can you trust Stafford?
you just trust him to make that throw. I don't know.
I think the Buccaneers are just incredible.
I think the Bucks win this game, but I'm going to
Mhm.
pick the Rams. My pick is the Rams.
Yeah. There you
But
go.
I mean, I just it's so hard to see the Bucks losing, especially at home. Like, oof, this is tough. The key is like very similar to the Titans Bengals. It's at the line of scrimmage, because like the Bengals front seven is very good, especially their like off the edge, Von Miller and Leonard Floyd, and in the middle with Aaron Donald. If those three guys can win their matchups, which I mean that's gonna be a crazy matchup, like Tristan Wirfs against Von Miller, like man, that's a really good matchup.
That is.
But Von Miller in the playoffs is a different beast. Aaron Donald's been really good this season. Leonard Floyd's had a very underrated season. If those guys are able to, if two of those three are able to win their matchup, it's going to make it very hard for them to run the ball.
That's the thing.
Production.
I think you got to hit Brady. You got to make him uncomfortable. You can't let him get into this rhythm where he's just dotting everyone up 10 yards down the field. And that's what you have to do. That's what the Saints do. They hit Brady early.
Yeah.
And they somehow don't allow these short throws. I think that's where you got to try to attack, is just try to make Tom Brady feel uncomfortable, try to make it so that the Buccaneers can't score, because I don't think the Rams are going to score like much either.
Yeah. This is a I think this is like the most clear cut of the four that like
I do too.
Tampa's probably going to win. But
I would say Titans Bengals actually.
yeah, probably.
I guess I don't know. I don't know.
It's all of them are so
Yeah.
up in the air. Man, like I'm going Rams, but this is going to be a tough one for Los Angeles to win. Like you can't put it any other way. It's going to be tough because defensively, like the Bucks match up so well against them in the secondary. Like their wide receivers and their tight ends are going to be able to feast. It's just if McVay can figure out a way to stop that, which I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know if he can.
Niners, Packers.
Ooh.
I think the Niners are going to win. I'm already putting that down. I think they are going to win. I don't think the Packers can stop their run game. They needed crazy late game heroics by Rodgers, which obviously he can do.
Mm-hmm.
If you put him in that situation, he will probably score and probably win the game if he gets put in that situation. But I don't know. I'm just thinking of that 2019 matchup where Raheem Mostert ran for like 220 yards in the NFC Championship game. Feels like it could be a lot of the same. The Niners front four is fantastic, obviously, and the Packers offensive line isn't too fantastic. Like, this is you need like Jimmy G mess ups. And if he can play the same way he played against the Cowboys, like I think the Niners win this game.
Yeah.
If he does stupid stuff, I don't know.
If you get first half Jimmy of the Dallas game, you probably win.
Mm-hmm.
If you get second half Jimmy, you're losing by 30. But I think, the Packers are probably the healthiest team in football right now because they're getting Jair Alexander back. Who I don't know if he's going to be able to take away Deebo Samuel because of how much they move him around and because of how many different ways there are to get him the ball. I don't know if he's going to be able to shut him down, but they get him back. They get Darius Smith back. Yeah. They get Billy Turner back. They get David Bakhtiari back, which is huge. Getting him back and him healthy because that helps that.
But it's like, are they really? Line. It's the first game back.
It is the first.
Really healthy. I don't know.
But I think they're better than their replacements, at least. Yeah. Which is an upgrade, and I mean it's gonna take them a bit to ramp up, but like especially like Bakhtiari and the Darius Smith, they haven't played the whole year. But like they have. Oh, Jesus. They have. This is the best defense Aaron Rodgers has ever had. Like, I'm going on record saying that. This is the best defense they've had. So, if they can. I find it very hard that a defense of this caliber loses to a game-managing offense. Because of how good their offense, the Packers' offense is. Like, I find it very hard to see that. However, if the Niners play like they did in the first half against Dallas, which I think they can sustain that. I think that's sustainable. Like they didn't do anything crazy. They just made the right play. If they just make the right play, this game is going to be very, very close. I
mean, the other thing is I don't know how big of a factor it really is for NFL players, but it's San Francisco people going into Green Bay, Wisconsin. Like,
it's supposed to be like freezing, like below zero.
It's gonna be cold. Can Jimmy G hold the ball in that type of weather?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
The NFC games are like I think it's gonna be hard for the Niners to win. I think it's gonna be hard for the Rams to win because it's on the road against these all-time great offenses or all-time great quarterbacks leading these offenses. But there is a way for the Niners to win. Like it's way clearer than the Rams winning. Like for the Rams to win, it's going to take a lot. But for the Niners to win, it's not going to take that much. It's just it's just hard to count on Garoppolo to make that happen.
That is true, but
So it's
what
just gonna be tough.
Garoppolo threw, I think, 8 passes in that 2019 NFC Championship,
Really?
and they scored like 40 something.
I know they absolutely ran it down the throat. Let me look at the box score. Oh wait, hold on, that's wrong.
Yeah, Garoppolo was 6 for 8, and they scored 37 points. So it's like, I don't think you need much at all from Jimmy G. Just really no turnovers or pick sixes or whatever. And I think you can run really all over this Packers defense.
You could.
Because you got Kenny Clark up the middle and he's solid. But like other than that, I don't know. I haven't really looked at Green Bay's like run defense, like how many where they rank in that. But I assume it's not terrific.
Yeah, I think they're probably middle of the pack. It's really their secondary that's been great, and their linebackers that have been great. This I think this is a better defense than that one in 2019 or whenever they played.
Yeah.
Especially like I think because they add Devondre Campbell, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
Pro Bowler or the All Pro now, actually.
Yeah.
So they have him. You still have Preston Smith. You have Kenny Clark. Man, this is tough. I'm going Packers. I'm going Packers because it's at home. At home before the NFC Championship game, Aaron Rodgers doesn't lose. So unless it's to the Niners.
Well, that was the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. But he lost to Kaepernick.
Oh,
I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But man,
we got 3
Packers.
different picks.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's 3 different picks. Yeah. Titans are our only similar one. This is gonna be a very good divisional round. Yeah. I am extremely excited.
I'm so excited.
Because these are 4 extremely good games and 4 extremely good matchups. So,
yep.
Yeah, hopefully it lives up to the hype. So I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be mad at whatever result we get because it's going to set up for some crazy championship games. So that's going to be it for this episode. Thanks for watching. You got a live reaction to a trade. Very exciting trade for Nuggets fans because we got a shooter.
Nice. Finally.
Yeah. So thanks for watching. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.